Welcome to the PhoneArena.com video review of the BlackBerry Storm 9530. The Storm is RIM's response to the iPhone. There's no two ways about it. After declaring touchscreens a fad, RIM realized that may not be the case, and so started development on one of their own. Of course, being BlackBerry, they had to put their own twist on it. It uses the same capacitive technology that the iPhone does. However, instead of just touching an icon to select it, touching highlights it. You then have to press the screen, which as a whole clicks. It's like one giant button. It's a very unique technology, something we've never seen before, and something, quite frankly, we despise. It's good in theory, because who hasn't accidentally touched something on a touchscreen and gone into a menu or sent a message that they didn't mean to? However, their execution is flawed. To begin with, it's tiring. And this is the biggest complaint we have about it. It doesn't sound like much, but when you actually use the device for a day or two, and you type out messages frequently, your thumbs get fatigued. It's not much of a press, but it's definitely there. As you can see, the interface is new as well. There's really not a whole lot to say about it in terms of functionality, as it's basically just a port from previous OSs, such as the 4.5 OS found on the Curve. However, everything's touch now, and there are a few little redesigns. We really do like the interface. The problem we had with it is that it can become laggy. There are often 3 to 5 second delays when going from menu to menu, and the accelerometer also is an issue. As you can see, it takes some time to flip. Sometimes it goes instantaneously, sometimes it goes after 5 seconds. Sometimes, when we're not moving the device at all, it just decides to switch orientation. Or when we do move the device, it decides not to switch back. Right now it's working pretty well, but there have even been some times when it won't change at all. These are software issues, and we expect RIM to update the software soon. There was rumor of a new one coming out. However, that turned out to be a misprint on the sticker rather than a downgrade of the software. In terms of the design, the bold is very nice. The one complaint we do have is the screen actually wiggles. There's a lot of back and forth and up and down play. I'm not sure how much you can see here on the video, but the screen definitely moves, and that was the very first thing we noticed when picking the device up. It makes the otherwise well-built device feel extremely chintzy, and while we realize this probably alleviates stress for the clickable touchscreen, it just doesn't feel good. We have the 4 navigational keys that we see on old BlackBerries. However, this time there's no trackball in the middle. This is kind of a shame, and we've knocked the trackball in the past, but especially when held in the right orientation, we really felt that a trackball would be useful. The device is big. It's about the same size as an iPhone. However, it's a full ounce heavier. It's heavier than just about anything out there, and that's the other thing we noticed when first picking it up. We like heavy when it gives a quality feel, and in fact have knocked devices before because they're too light, especially something like the Pearl. But the bold is just too heavy. That said, it's well constructed. The 3.2-inch display is beautiful. It's nice and clear and crisp, with what they call a half VGA resolution. The back is very plain and simple. We do have a 3.2 megapixel autofocus camera with flash. The battery door is a large brushed metal door, and it actually has dual clips down on the side. Underneath we find the SIM slot. The bolt is an international device, and surprisingly is quad band. It also has a slot for a micro SD card, and ships with a more than ample 8 GB card. Battery performance, as expected with BlackBerries, are stellar, and we achieved just over the 6 hours of talk time that BlackBerry claims. As you can see, the accelerometer is having some issues as we're moving it around. The buttons feel good. There's no problem with them. On the side you find the traditional convenience keys and volume rocker, as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack. Overall, the Storm feels pretty good. There really isn't anything new functionality-wise with the 4.7 interface. It's very similar to past BlackBerry devices, although it sure is pretty. It's pretty obvious that RIM simply slapped a touchscreen capability therefore needed to upgrade to 4.7. It looks very similar to the 4.6 OS found on the Bold. There are some minor revisions to previous editions. However, anybody that's picked up a BlackBerry before should be able to use the Storm with no problem. We're looking at it in landscape orientation right now, where we have a 3x4 grid. You can see as we scroll up, the menu moves as well. It's definitely not as smooth as we've seen on other touchscreen devices, most notably the iPhone. We actually have to click, of course, to select something. All the main things are here. We have our downloads and applications, the camera, clocks, Verizon's added VZ Navigator and visual voicemail. The media player is very good. As you can see, it looks similar in layout to previous ones, though with new icons. Let's check out the music and see what we have. It's very similar to the iPhone and the iPod interface in general. We had no problems with it registering album art or reading any ID3 tags. As you can see, when we touch the screen, it'll bring up controls. And we'll see if it'll flip orientation while sitting on the ground here. Not right now, obviously. However, it looks very iPhone-y in its appearance. This is a good thing, as the iPhone pretty much sets the standard for that. We'll swap back to videos and take a look at them as well. It had no problem playing any of our test files. As you can see, we used many different resolutions and frames per second options. We'll pull up a video just to see what it looks like.
I know we put on a hell of a show, but dude, put some shades on us, something. Let's not make a big deal.
We did have some problems with the videos pulling up the on-screen controls. At times it worked just fine, but at other times there was nothing. We're sure this will be addressed in future updates. The next big improvement is the browser. Past BlackBerries have really been pretty poor on their browsing experience, but the Storm sets a new standard. It's not quite up there with the iPhone or the Touch Diamond with Opera Mobile, but it's very good. Sometimes pages loaded quickly. We are on EVDO Revision A right now, and very good coverage. As you can see, our page loaded pretty quickly. There are other times, however, in the same location, where it took upwards of a minute and sometimes even beyond a minute to load the same page in the same location that we're in. Once you're in the page, you can scroll around. Double tapping the screen will zoom in. You can also use the controls down at the bottom for more incremental zooms. Overall, everything rendered quite nicely. This is definitely the best BlackBerry experience we've had in terms of web browsing. The one issue we did have is with YouTube videos. While we could bring up mobile YouTube and play the videos without a problem, the quality was quite poor. That's a minor gripe though. While YouTube is important, it's not something that's going to make or break a device. We do like the interface, but our biggest complaint was the lag. There are times when we simply found 5-10 second delays, and we got tired of the little waiting icon. Last but not least is the messaging. We'll pull up a test message here, and you can see the on-screen keyboard. As you can see, when you touch the key, it will highlight, and then you actually have to click. The problem with this is that as you're clicking away, with any type of speed, the device just is not accurate at all. We're not exactly sure what the problem is, whether it just has issues registering presses, whether it's missing presses, or if we're actually touching the screen in two places. Right now we're doing that, but as you can see, it's only letting us go to one. Perhaps that we were keeping our finger on the screen just a little too much, but we've not run into this issue with past touchscreen devices, so we're not sure why the Bold is having so many problems. At the heart of any BlackBerry is messaging, and at the heart of messaging is a keyboard. This is where the Storm fails tremendously. We've used the device for several days now, but no matter how hard we try, we just can't type quickly with any type of accuracy. Messages, as you can see with some of the words on screen now, turn out gibberish. Autocorrect does its best to keep up with us, but there are times that it's so bad it doesn't even try. We're very familiar with touchscreen devices. We personally carry 2 right now and have reviewed countless numbers of them. This is hands down the worst one we've ever tried. We're not sure exactly what the problem is. As we're typing, the highlight does look like it's typing the letter that we're asking it to, or at least highlighting the letter it's asking it to. We don't know if something's lost in the screen press or not. We really just have no idea what's going on. It's that bad all around. The feel is good. It does feel like a normal keyboard, and that's what RIM was going for. But it doesn't work like a normal keyboard. The spacing's fine on the full QWERTY. If we switch the orientation here, we'll see we have a T9 keyboard in portrait mode, as well as a SureType option. The problem is not in the design, the problem is in the execution. We really hope RIM addresses this quickly, because, as is, this is pretty unusable for someone who can type with any speed whatsoever. As we slowed down our speed, we became more and more accurate. However, that's not what a BlackBerry is about. A BlackBerry is about tapping out 100 pin messages and emails and text messages a day. The other problem with this was fatigue. After just 5 or 10 messages, we started to feel our thumbs get sore. And after a full day with it, they were tired. There's no doubt about that. The device may be great for thumb workouts, but you shouldn't be tired after typing out emails. Business users who are using this frequently will hate it. We really can't say how bad this keyboard is. It's something that we just can't believe RIM let out the door. We hope they address this quickly. There have been several supposed iPhone killers since the device was first released. Some of them do a good job, but none of them quite meets the overall mark that Apple has set. Don't get us wrong, there are several things that we'd like to see in the iPhone, and from our review you can see we were kind of disappointed in the 3G. But, on the whole, it's the best device out there. We really had high hopes for the Storm. RIM is a great company who have been putting out smartphone products for years that lead the market. We thought that with all their expertise, they might actually be able to get it right. Instead, this might just be the worst one out there, all things considered. The multimedia is fantastic. There's no way around that. The screen looks great, videos are crisp, and the music player is well executed. However, RIM lost its way with the Storm. BlackBerries have always been BlackBerries, and they've always been different than any other PDA device out there. They've been set apart by their messaging and email capabilities. While the Storm still takes advantage of biz and bez, meaning email push is fantastic, the keyboard is just terrible. It's incredibly inaccurate and very tiresome to use. Those looking to type out emails will find their thumbs hurting. Heavy text messengers will see the same. There's just no two ways about it. The Storm is a terrible messaging device. If you're just looking for something to check your email now and again, and you want to replace your iPod, the Storm is a great device, and you'd probably like it. The phone performance is outstanding, and battery life is stellar. However, if you're a BlackBerry user looking to upgrade, hang on to your Curve, or whatever else you're using. It's certainly better than the Storm.